Archimedes has been called one of the greatest mathematicians in history. The most famous inventor in ancient Greece, he built a strong foundation in mathematics, physics, particularly statics, hydrostatics, and also explained the lever principle. During his lifetime, he made many remarkable discoveries, such as designing innovative machinery, including screw pumps, compound pulleys, and siege engines. He is said to have calculated modern calculus, and derived various geometry theorems including the area of a circle, surface area and volume of a sphere, and area under a parabola. During Archimedes' time, the center of Greek culture and science was Alexandria. As the son of an astronomer named Phidias, Archimedes received the best training in several disciplines there, including education under the Greek mathematician Euclid. After completing his education and spending his early career in Egypt, Archimedes returned to Syracuse to live in his home city. Archimedes' devotion to mathematics has been compared to Newton's devotion. Both often neglected eating, drinking, even basic care of their bodies to develop mathematical science. Plutarch wrote, on Archimedes some 3 centuries later, some ascribe this, i.e. discovery, to his natural genius, while others think that extraordinary effort and toil produced this. Archimedes published his work in the form of correspondence with major mathematicians of his time, including the Alexandrian scholars Conon of Samos and Eratosthenes of Cyrene. His discoveries can be categorized into 3 groups. Firstly, works that prove theorems relating to solids and areas bounded by curves and surfaces. Secondly, works that analyze problems in statics and hydrostatics from a geometric point of view. Various other works, including some that emphasized calculations, such as the sand reckoner. Archimedes' success in applying mathematical knowledge to weapons of war played a major role during the war between Rome and Syracuse during the Second Punic War. One of the most talked about details about Archimedes' life story is the famous scene where he runs wet and naked through the streets of Syracuse, shouting, "Eureka, Eureka, I have found it." This famous incident stems from King Hieron II's desire to test a gold crown he had made. The king was concerned that the crown's craftsman had kept some of the gold and replaced it with a mixture of gold and other low-quality materials. The king asked many experts to test the crown without damaging it, to prove his doubts, including Archimedes. The legendary scene took place after Archimedes found the answer to the king's question, while stepping into a bathtub in a public bath. Archimedes' principle is what became known as the law of buoyancy. Archimedes eventually concluded that the king's crown was not made entirely of gold, confirming the king's suspicions. With this method, he was also able to find out exactly how much gold was missing. In his work on the measurement of the circle, Archimedes came to the logical conclusion that the ratio of the circumference of a circle to its diameter, which is the mathematical constant we now call pi. Archimedes also formulated the law of levers and equilibrium. He did it so accurately that no scientific advances were made until the 16th century AD. He also discovered the benefits of pulleys to lift large weights. He was amazed by the mechanical advantage provided by levers and pulleys. Despite all the laws of physics he discovered, Archimedes never really called them physical science. He treated them as pure mathematical theorems, in a system's logic similar to the one Euclid developed for geometry. Ironically, Greek science at the time of Archimedes had a tendency to downplay observations in favor of logical arguments. The Greeks believed that ultimate knowledge was based on deductive reasoning. However, that did not prevent Archimedes from experimenting. He stood out from his contemporaries because he was successful. After the death of Hieron II, war began between Syracuse and Rome. The city was attacked from land and sea. Archimedes was 75 years old. But that didn't stop him from playing a central role in defending the city. He put his theoretical knowledge into practice, developing a giant catapult weapon that threw heavy stones to great distances. The weapon successfully perforated the city walls for archers, and mounted a crane capable of releasing numerous stones at the Roman ship when it was in range. Its invention was so effective that Marcus Claudius Marcellus, the Roman commander, abandoned the idea of attacking Syracuse. He decided, then, that a siege was the only way to destroy the city. In 212 BCE, the starving city surrendered and the Romans captured Syracuse. Marcellus was so impressed with Archimedes' genius that he ordered the gifted Greek to be captured alive. Nonetheless, when the Roman soldiers found Archimedes, he was on the beach drawing geometric figures in the sand, and working on one of his many theorems. He ignored the soldiers' orders, and asked for additional time to complete his work. The angry soldiers, perhaps feeling a little insulted, killed one of the greatest minds in history. Archimedes died, but his ideas could not be killed, and his work endures to this day.